Not sure who else is gonna join us, but I'm going to start my analysis of the market for the week of 7/17. Can I get a response in the chat to make sure everyone can see my screen? I'm just gonna assume that people can see my screen. You're probably not gonna be there yet anyways because I did not enter you into the chart yet. I have to send you a new one. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. We have one person in our chat. This is going to be recorded, so it's fine if you're not able to look at it the whole time. Waiting on one other person to join. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start what I got so far. Let's start with DXY. We identified that DXY is definitely in bearish trend, but I believe DXY is currently going to what I like to see as a cool down phase. It did travel down on Friday from its current levels, taking out some inefficiencies, a gap in the market, which I called out on Friday. It didn't make it up into the zone I was looking for, like entries at, but it still traded down like expected. There's other levels of inefficiencies around price 106,900 level, which I'm also looking to target for next week. I don't directly trade DXY, but I always identify the direction of DXY to determine what's going on with the other pairs. Not going to waste too much time on the DXY. Just understand that I am looking at it temporarily going bearish into levels of inefficiencies around price 105 level. First targets will be the 106,900 level. My next pair I'm looking at is EU, of course, which is just the opposite. I'm looking for EU to trade lower first and go higher. I identified 3 zones that look very promising for possible entries. This is really going to be, it's going to boil down to what the DXY actually does. I would like to see this Euro USD trade a little bit higher first, maybe show me some real intent that it wants to trade higher, then trade back down to some levels of demand that has been introduced to the market. This goes back to what DXY is going to do, of course. We did break this quote unquote trend line liquidity that was formed. So this is a good indication that price very well may trade higher, checking out some level of inefficiency. So this is more of a timing thing, patience. The next pair I'm looking at would be AUSD, which is practically the same thing as EU. I'm not going to waste time on talking about it. I'm also looking for sale for buys, taking out some liquidity, even some higher levels of supply at the top side that were formed. We are definitely in a bearish trend, so this is still what we call a riskier trade if we don't get no clear intent of price trading higher. And again, DXY will be the determining factor of how this plays out. Next pair I'm watching will be NU. NU, similar situation, looking for buys. Again, NU was the only one that actually gave me kind of an intent of trading higher because we wicked above its last recent swing high that did make this low. So I am looking to see price come down, take out this trend line liquidity that was formed, tap into these areas of inefficiencies, trade higher. First targets will be around the 62,200 level. Other areas I'm looking at, of course, would be the 0.72 level, which, excuse me, the 0.62 level. So right now, we're just going to identify that price trade lower, give us a shift, and trade at least up into the 62,200 level. That's what I'm currently looking for price to do. And this is also depending on what DXY does. Of course, that, let's just go with the flow. The next pair I'm looking at will be US 100. US 100, I actually sent out a sale of me a buy opportunity for everyone in the group on Thursday night, I believe. This actually played out very well, taking out this trend line liquidity. Now price is actually currently sitting around a fresh supply zone, which I can see possibly trading down into my areas of possible continuations into the zone, back up into levels of supply. What I've see is the imbalance or quote unquote fair value gap or just a gap in the market in general that price can trade into. I'd like to see price tap into the supply, trade back down, and trade up to that gap, but price can actually just trade up into that gap and then possibly trade down and go higher. So keep that in mind. So this one would be what I would consider more of a riskier idea if you would take the trade. No small account should take this trade, but if you do, make sure that you identify the fact that there is a gap right above, so price may end up trading higher before lower. And again, that we are still technically in a bearish trend. We are starting to, I guess, mass together enough orders to go higher, which is a very possible scenario for NAS 100. But again, let's not automatically assume that prices are going to come fly to the top. Be fluent with the market. The next pair I'm looking at is going to be the US 500. Very similar situation. I would like to see this trend line liquidity that was formed here to be fully violated, then trade lower, then go back higher to some levels of supply that will introduce. This supply may hold because we have what looks like a trend line here. This probably will induce a bunch of retail traders into the market for price to maybe react and then continue higher, which is ideal. But for now, I'm only targeting that zone just in case price decides to trade lower. So this is a good indication that price can trade into the zone because of this supply zone, fresh supply, trend line, gap in the market, inefficiencies in price. There's a lot of reasons for price to trade to this zone. Next pair I'm looking at would be CJ, which I'm identifying as possible sell to buy idea, but I am not identifying any possible buy at the moment. I'm only looking at these sells because there are some CAD news coming out this week that might affect how this pair moves. Not that I actually trade the news. It's one of those things where I keep an eye on it just in case the news affects how the trade plays out. But I did identify some liquidity that was formed to the top side of fresh supply zone that actually formed liquidity to the bottom side, leaving inefficient prices down below, which is clear, really good sign that price would trade up into the 106,800 level, then trade lower, taking out the liquidity on the top side, then the bottom side, and from there, depending on what the news does, you can determine whether or not the trade will go higher. But I'm more inclined to only focus on this sell before the buy. I know I'm going this fairly fast because the market is open. I don't want to waste too much time. I'll take questions at the end. Next pair I'm looking at will be gold. On gold, gold will just do the reverse of DXY. So again, if DXY wants to fall, I expect gold to go higher because there's definitely inefficiencies, liquidity in the market. We're starting to see the lower time frame shift in structure, even as we speak. So we're seeing if price would like to come trade down into this zone and trade higher. But will be an ideal thing that I see gold doing is possibly taking out the liquidity first, trading back down, then trade up. But that does not necessarily have to happen for me to consider this trade a valid trade, because I kind of already see a possible buy scenario in this trade. Because we got more trend line liquidity up top, we got fresh supply up top, inefficiency up top. There's several reasons for price to want to trade higher. But my first zone I'm targeting right now would be the 1723 level, because that is the last level of inefficiency that broke the structure to the downside. We are currently sitting at a really high level of demand in the market. So this move up is definitely possible. So I would look to target the 1723 level first and then see how price reacts there. And then we'll see what happens after that. Our next pair will be silver, which is a very similar setup to gold. Seeing price trade lower. Seeing price trade higher because again, we have trend line liquidity, we got inefficiencies in the market, fresh supply coming off of first demand. Prices didn't really have like a true intent to buy quite yet. I don't really like how it looks ultimately, but I do like that it's showing some fresh demand being introduced to the market. So I can start seeing this demand be respected, maybe price trade down, start showing me a shift, look take price up to at least the golden zone, take out some inefficiencies along with this liquidity that was formed here, then I can see price going higher, even higher than that golden zone. Next pair I am focused on will be US Mexico. I actually sent this trade out as well last week in the group. I hope some of y'all caught it. I'm seeing a continuation in sales. I mean, price will come up to this fresh supply zone that was introduced. I'm still trying to target liquidity, fresh inefficiencies, and demand in the market that was introduced here. So this is a clear-cut idea that the pair will come lower. So I will keep an eye on this. Maybe look at see what time this price makes it into here during the London, maybe even the New York session, maybe Monday to Tuesday. This could look like a really good sell down into these levels. Nice little trade that I think should play out well. I'm thinking this is a more high probability trade here. Next pair I'm focused on will be GCAD. I know I'm throwing a lot of pairs at you, but they're all in the weekly outlook. I want y'all to have a good idea or good help in the pairs to look at, and we can make adjustments as price goes on. GCAD is very similar to all my other CAD pairs that I'm focused on. I'm seeing maybe a weak CAD coming into this week because we actually can identify that GCAD has technically taken out this last lower high that was formed, meaning that this is official breaker structure or at least a change in character in the market. And price seems to want to come down into this fresh level of demand. I'm not necessarily looking to enter right away from these levels, but this is a good area that I've marked for possible entries. Depending on what time of day this happens, I would love for this to happen during the London, either tonight or into tomorrow night. Take a price at least into the fresh supply, at least into the fresh supply that was introduced into the market. Also, I would like to see price trade up into higher levels around the 159, 300 zone, but we're not getting greedy. We're only targeting zones that are obvious to our eyes around where liquidity sits. My next pair I'm focused on, this will probably be the last one because I don't want to keep this thing too long. I would like to get some of y'all questions in, and I will actually post all other trades and charts in the group for y'all. Next trade I'm looking at would be Euro AUD. Euro AUD has basically formed some liquidity down here, which looks good to continue price lower. So I have identified possible levels where price can trade into because there is definitely some inefficiencies in price down here, fresh supply over here, fresh demand over here that price can trade into. And of course, the liquidity that was formed down here on Friday's move, or Thursday's move. And I would like for that liquidity to be taken. And I'm looking for price to maybe target, at least come into the 1.48800 level, even possibly taking out these relevant highs around the 149,600 level. But I'm more inclined to believe the 148 level will hold because we got a small break of structure here around that 148,300 level. Even though it's a wick, it's still considered a break in my eyes. I would look to see if price will trade up into this zone, probably trade lower. If this zone does not hold, look for the higher zone to hold. And with that, I am done with this very quick analysis. If y'all have any questions, y'all are able to unmute yourselves next. Does anyone got any questions? I know the one that entered late, don't worry, this is being recorded and it will be posted in the chat. Okay, since it looks like anyone has any questions, I will call this Zoom call and end. Wait, let me do one more pair just because we still have a little bit of time. Let's go with GEG. I know I look at a lot of pairs. I know it seems overwhelming, but trust me, it's better to have many, many different pairs that you're looking at to see which one actually plays in your favor. And as long as it makes sense to trade it, it doesn't make sense to trade it. That's what I will always tell people. On EG, we definitely had a setup from last week that didn't play out very well. Didn't look good, so I didn't bother taking the trade. But it's actually still looking very similar to what I looked at last week. I'm seeing this fresh supply zone that's been introduced. You got some liquidity. We had some sort of inducement in the market that this strong wick here telling me that it probably took out a lot of early buyers in the market. And I don't believe it's done selling because there's definitely levels of liquidity down here and inefficiencies on the 4 hour or what I understand we do have some liquidity down here and some inefficient prices that I think price would like to target. And this is what I'm looking to target as well. But for now, I'd like to see a price trades up into the 85 400 level and look to see a shift in structure and trade lower. I mentioned these zones because these are key levels that price can react from. I don't want you to think that these are some random zones I'm looking at because these zones are breached and I was just wrong. Never claim to be right all the time, but these are definitely key zones that do make sense based off of efficiencies, liquidity, and whatever other reasons that price would trade into those areas. Now, with that, I am done with my analysis. One last time, are there any questions? No questions? All right. I will go ahead and end the sharing and in the Zoom. Y'all have a great night. Happy trading.